outside smokers, etc. in Stowe, Ohio, and we are here tonight for a Rocky Patel event. It's a lot of tins right here off the bat. And this humidor here is honestly a lot bigger than I fully expected. Um, it There's a lot of stuff packed in here. A lot of Perdomos. Um, I mean, I don't know the whole Perdomo line, but I gotta say they probably have most about all of them. Like I mentioned, it's they're packed in here pretty good. He's got a lot of smokes in here. Um, this is zoomed all the way out, guys, and I am like right up against the shelf behind me. So as I went through here, I tried to do as best as I could. It's pretty tight in here. A lot of the legal line right here. Um, and as you guys can see, a few of the Saka items, but at the end of the video here, we do have, we will be talking to the Rocky Rep. So stay tuned at the end of the video after the humidor to kind of listen to him. A lot of great information. And we asked him a few questions, kind of peppered a little bit off the spot. Stay tuned for that here at the end of the video. In our travels now, we've been through, quite a few different humidors, and it's always interesting to see what everybody kind of has. A lot of places have, I'll say a lot of Perdomos, and then another place will have a lot of Saka, Dunbarton stuff, and a lot of other places will have a bunch of Rocky, and so on and so forth. And it definitely is interesting to see what the clientele around each of the lounges, what they have, what they carry. Like this, a lot of the Cohibas. So it's just really interesting to me how everything can be so different and how things change depending on, maybe a 20, 30, 40 mile radius. It's crazy. For instance, here being what I would call like a average size humidor, right? Huge line of Olivas. So they must sell a lot of Olivas here. I think Mike does a great job. That's the owner of picking out the different sticks, a little bit of everything. You see the Aganorses there as well. I mean, there's a lot of variety in here, but if there's a particular brand you like, he's at least got a few of them, so you can kind of gets a little bit of everything. The Olmec is really putting out a great cigar right there. That's one of my favorites, but you gotta have that baby on a full stomach. Tell you what. Few of the CLEs there. The Tabernacle we did get, haven't smoked it yet. Excited to give that one a shot. So as you guys can see here, um, it is a tight space in between this shelf, which I don't mind because you can stack a lot more cigars in here by putting a shelf in like this, and he definitely did, but it did make for a tighter space. Um, there's some of the Ashton line, and they were a little hidden whenever I first walked in, but he does have some of the Ashtons. And have you guys ever had uh, those Sarzetas? I don't know much about them. If you guys know much about them, leave me a comment down below. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on them. So you do see this, the new Cuba, Nicaragua is a new Cuba. Let me know, guys, what you guys think about that too. It's kind of thing we did have that Cuban discussion that may be a little further down the road, but let me know what you guys think. Is it Honduras? Is it Nicaragua? Tell me what you guys think. Few more Aganorsas, and that signature is a top-notch cigar. Put a link here in, and that's a really good cigar. I really enjoyed smoking that stick. Got Giuseppe coming in from Rocky, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Rocky Patel cigars since it is a Rocky Patel event.
Hey, I'm Giuseppe Penzone, the rep for Rocky Patel in the Midwest region. I cover Ohio, Kentucky, about 75% of the state of Indiana. I got Chris asking me some questions here, so feel free to ask away. What I'm smoking right now, he wanted me to talk about. I'm smoking the Decade. This was a staple in Rocky Patel's collection. This is kind of one of his foundational products. So like when you think of Rocky, you think of the foundation of Rocky, the Edge series, the Vintage series, Java, and then the Decade is kind of Rocky's foundation, some of his first cigars that he came out with. This is a very good light to medium cigar. And I'll talk about some cigars down here with Rocky. So this is our newest cigar. This is the Rocky Patel 30th anniversary. We came out with this cigar to celebrate 30 years in business. It's got a great San Andreas wrapper on it. When you think of San Andreas wrappers, you think of a little bit more spicy. Not so much with this cigar. This has some sweeter, smoother notes to it, but a really, really good cigar. This also has a Nicaraguan fill, Nicaraguan Honduras binder. This is probably our most popular cigar right now. This is the Emerald. It's got an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper on it. Got rated number 6 cigar in Cigar Aficionado for the year. In the Robusto size. This has some really good spice notes to it. It's a medium to full cigar, and it's one of my personal favorites.
Do you have a personal favorite of the Rockies?
Yeah, so my personal favorite is called the 55. I love it in the Robusto size. The shape of the cigar is called a Bellicosa. It kind of comes to a bullet point, you know, at either end of the stick. I believe that is the only cigar that we make that has Costa Rican tobacco on it, or in it, excuse me. So it's a Nicaraguan wrapper, Nicaraguan fill, and a Costa Rican binder. Every time I smoke it, I just get different notes from it. You know, it's a good complex cigar, but it's not bold. It's a very good, you know, medium to full cigar. This is our anniversary cigar. This is the Snake. We came out with this in 2025. Every year we do a Chinese New Year cigar. This year in 2026, we're coming out with Year of the Horse. It will be a box press Churchill. So yeah, this is about a $38 cigar, but it's worth every penny. Great cigar. Like I said, it's our 2025 year cigar, so these aren't going to be around very much longer. So grab one if you see one.
What separates Rocky from some other either blenders or manufacturers or growers of tobacco and cigars? What is special about Rocky to you?
So what is special about Rocky and what I really admire about Rocky is that, you know, so our 30th anniversary, right? We've only been in business for 30 years. You know, Rocky has really made a name for himself as a legacy brand in 30 years. He doesn't come from a generational tobacco family like, let's say, Padron or Arturo Fuente. He's kind of the black sheep in the industry. I've heard that he's the hardest working man in the industry. You know, he really built a name for himself in 30 years as one of the biggest top cigar brands. So I tip my cap to Rocky in that regard. So yeah, I mean, he's come out with some great cigars the last couple of years too. We don't have it on the shelf right now, but the 60 that got rated the number 2 cigar in 2022. The number 1 cigar was a Cuban. So in America, it was the number 1 cigar. Or in the free world, you know, like the Emerald that just got rated the number 6 cigar. That 30th is a great cigar too. You know, this gold label got rated a 94 in Aficionado. So, you know, Rocky just has a good palate. You know, he's a great blender. We have a team of people that kind of help blend our cigars. So yeah, I just think, you know, he makes some really, really, really good sticks.
With Rocky Patel sticks, they're not cheap, but they're not super expensive, right? They're fairly economical. I mean, you can find something good. If I were a new cigar smoker, okay, in your experience, what would be a good, even if it's not on the shelf here today at Smokers, etc., what would be a good 2 or 3 or maybe a couple of cigars that someone should look at for a Rocky to kind of introduce them to the Rocky Patel brand? What would be a good reach, you know, for there?
Gotcha. Yeah, I like that you asked me that question. Rocky really has a portfolio that is economically friendly for everybody as well, you know, just taste wise too. You know, we make great Connecticut's. So starting out, like I said, this Emerald is probably our number 1 seller right now, but what has been the number 1 seller, you know, in years past has been, we sold out of them, which is a good thing, would be the Vintage 99. That is a good entry-level smoke, Connecticut, very smooth, very mild. Why it was our number 1 cigar, you know, it kind of appeals to the masses, you know, some guy that's not your everyday cigar smoker, you know, that just wants something light. That's a good stick to go to. We also don't have on the shelf, we sold out of them, but our white label, that is our nicest Connecticut that we make. Aged 10-year tobacco, actual Connecticut seed grown in Nicaragua. That's a great smoke. It's going to be a little bit more higher price just because of the aging, and the construction of the cigar. That's maybe about a $22 cigar, but also a good entry level cigar. So what I smoked before working for Rocky Patel was this Edge sampler. Like I said, talking about the staples of Rocky Patel, we're thinking the Edge series, the Vintage series, Java, and the Decade. Those are some of Rocky's first cigars that he came out with. In this pack, you're going to get 4 different. So Mike here at Smokers Etc. has these listed for $35. So you're getting 4 cigars for less than $10 a stick. It's a great value pack. You're getting a Habano, a Maduro, a Sumatra, and a Corojo. So this was my go-to, coming out of college, not having a lot of money, wanted a good smoke, but something that was more economically friendly for me. So that was my go-to.
And that with the different wrappers would be a good idea, similar to whether you're drinking bourbon, beer, whatever it is. You can smoke one at a time and then start to get your palate of what you may or may not like.
Exactly. Right? This is kind of a good entry. Some other cigars that I smoked by Rocky before working for Rocky Patel was also the Vintage line. They got a Connecticut in that. They got the 92, the 90. My favorite out of that line is the 2006 San Andreas. It's got some good black pepper spice notes to it. That's a little bit more of a bolder cigar in that line, but I really enjoy the 2006.
Is there a reason? So I just smoked the 30 year. Is there a reason why that may be a little more what I got out of it, a little more creamy, a little bit of, to me, a little hint of chocolate notes compared to that spice? What might be different in that? Do you know what might be a little different in that cigar?
That's a good question because they both have San Andreas wrappers on it. And typically, like when you think of San Andreas, you think of a little bit more, spicy, bolder. I don't know if it's the aging process, what they do to the cigar, but like you said, you get some creamy notes to it. I get some sweet notes out of it. A little hint of chocolate maybe too. So yeah, that's a good question. I don't know why that is. I was actually doing a ride along with my boss, about a week. He came out to Indianapolis with me. We were at Burn, and people were looking at cigars and they're like, this has a dark wrapper, that's going to be really strong.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll be good for me. And he was really just talking about the aging process, to it, why it might not be as bold as people were thinking, with like a typical Maduro, or like our Disciple, that is probably one of our more bolder cigars that we make. I would say a lot of cigars in Rocky Patel's portfolio are more of that medium to full. We do have some lighter cigars like our Connecticut's that we make. But I don't think there's really anything like that Rocky makes that is just like super bold, gonna punch you in the face, like a Liga Privada, that is just very, very bold cigar.
So last question I have for you, the Conviction, right? That's Rocky's top of the line. It's about $105-ish bucks, give or take. What makes the Conviction special? Have you had one at first?
I have.
What makes that cigar special to where it's different than any other cigar for that $100 price point?
So it's the tobacco used in the cigar. It's a very limited quantity that we made. I want to say we made maybe 5,000 boxes. Don't quote me on that. Maybe it was 2,000. But it's just the rarity of the tobacco. So when you ask me my favorite Rocky Patel, something that I can smoke every day, is the 55. I've had 2 Convictions. Like you said, they're $100 a piece. That's probably my favorite Rocky Patel. It's just not something I can smoke every day. I can't smoke $100 cigars every day. But yeah, going back to your question, it's just the rarity of the tobacco. It's how it's constructed. There's more into it. The aging process, you're just going to get a lot more out of the Conviction than you would, the Edge. You know what I mean? So, yeah. We have another limited cigar. is the Rocky Patel 30th anniversary. So this has a San Andreas wrapper, Nicaraguan fill on it. The limited 30th comes in a very nice coffin metal. That is a Puro Nicaraguan. So it's going to be pure Nicaraguan tobacco throughout. That is also a phenomenal cigar. I know we made 1,000 boxes of that.
Wow.
So an even more limited quantity than the Conviction.
Leaving Smokers, etc., and picked up 2 Edge sampler packs and smoked the Rocky 30th while we were there. And great at Rocky Patel event. Thank you guys for having us. And lastly, hope you all have a great day. Hope to see you out there on the Bourbon and Cigar Trail. Cheers.